Hey everyone, in this video I'll be going through some of the tips and strategies that'll make solo flawless Spire of the Watcher look like an absolute joke. This guide is applicable for all three classes with loadouts and tips for each encounter. To start, some prerequisites that'll make your experience a lot better are decent linear, such as Cataclysmic, Taipan, Stormchaser, or Reed's Regret, with Cataclysmic being my personal favorite, Wither Horde or any other special grenade launcher with autoloading, a good heavy machine gun like Fixed Odds, and an SMG like Funnel Web or the re-released Akelous SMG. Some mods I suggest bringing in are Melee Wellmaker, Font of Might, and Well of Life for increased damage and survivability. If you're watching this video during Season 19, you'll have access to broken mods such as Weaken Clear, which allows your grenade launcher to apply a 15% weaken debuff and reload all of your stowed weapons by hitting a boss, and Solo Operative, that gives you a 15% buff to all weapons and abilities just by being in a solo fire team. If you're watching this after Season 19, this guide should still prove useful, as all the gameplay in this video is without any use of seasonal mods. The class that I believe is the best to do this with is Warlock, because Well of Radiance giving you a 25% damage buff and 40% damage resistance makes the boss damage phases a lot less chaotic. Starting with the opening encounter, Solar's pretty much good for every class since it has the most survivability. There are a bunch of ads including Minotaurs, Supplicants, and Cyclopses sniping you from up top, so you're going to need to keep yourself alive. The gameplay you're watching right now is the route that I take, and it makes this encounter very fast and safe. For the Ascent encounter, I don't really have that many tips other than using an LMG to clear the goblins and harpies flying far away, and taking your time as you have infinite time to connect all the wires. The first boss of this dungeon, Akelous, the Siren's Current, is considered the first brick wall of this dungeon. For loadouts, on all classes, I would use Solar for healing grenades and radiant buff alongside Font of Might with Melee Wellmaker. For weapons, I recommend Wither Horde, an SMG of your choice, and a linear, preferably Cataclysmic with bait and switch for maximum damage. This encounter has a lot of harpies that fly around the outskirts in the areas, and goblins that spawn alongside the conduit minotaurs. My preferred pathing for this encounter is killing the first conduit minotaur and going around in a circle throughout the room, clearing ads and shooting the nodes as I pass by them. And once I'm at the fourth set of nodes, I clear a bunch of ads and create a solar elemental well with my melee before triggering the start of the damage phase. Once I break 11 out of 12 eyes, I grab the elemental well and start damage. Something you should know is that the speed at which you break the eyes does affect the amount of time you have to deal damage, so make sure you break the eyes quickly. Something else that's important is to not move too far forward while dealing damage. While this may seem counterintuitive because the boss is moving away from you, going forward will make you a lot more prone to ads that are on the opposite side of the room, making it a lot harder to survive. Remember, since this is a dungeon, you have as much time as you want to clear ads and play safely. Once you defeat Akelous, you'll move on to the next and easiest part of the dungeon. For the next encounter, I recommend using an LMG to clear all the bottom ads and hobgoblins to spawn in the conduit minotaurs. The key with the red cables in this encounter is to be fast, so I have vantage points that you can stand at and have the best angles and see as many nodes as possible. And remember to take your time while dropping down through the fans. Once you get to the final floor, avoid the electricity in the middle and kill the Hydra using Wither Horde and clear the rest of the ads to complete the encounter. For the final boss, Persys, the recommended loadout is yet again a solar subclass, Wither Horde, an SMG, and a linear of your choice. When the encounter starts, you want to use a Wither Horde and SMG to kill the Hydras and spawn in the conduit minotaurs. A nice thing about this dungeon is that the supplicants don't explode once you kill them, so don't be afraid to kill them if they're right on top of you. Something really important in this encounter is staying mobile and playing around cover. The room is very close quarters and gets extremely chaotic when you're shooting the nodes, so take your time clearing supplicants and goblins before focusing on the nodes. When the boss goes into its reactor isolation chamber, make sure you either have a minotaur close by or enough time on your arctrician buff to shoot all the red wires in time. While dealing damage, it's extremely important to strafe left and right to dodge his shots so you don't get flinched, and with enough phases of dumping linear into the boss, you should be done. If you enjoyed this shorter guide, leave a like, subscribe, and let me know how your solo flawless goes in the comments, and I'll see you next time.